Well, hello, we're live. It's Kylie Smiley here from the Mobile Marketing Link, and thank you so much for joining me once again. It's been a huge weekend. It's been fantastic in respect to obviously when weather's good, often business is great, whether you're in retail, hospitality, beauty, whatever it might be. When the weather's good, business is often great. So I was just thinking that today with the sun out and it being warm, this end of the hemisphere, it really has a fantastic effect on business. Even though we're heading into the sort of a low period as far as what retail, etc., is involved, it really is great when the weather's good. Often the weather can play a big part. Sometimes it's potluck. And I've had many retailers speak with me and say, look, Kylie, we just can't pick it. February, March is crazy because it's sort of a really odd in between time of year. So one day they have a great day, the next day they might have a bad day. So it just depends, and it's one of those things. And that's where I have a lot of empathy for those who have brick and mortar businesses and businesses that aren't quite online yet, because that's the sweet spot where you can compensate for lack of foot traffic is online and capturing people online. So I'm going to be sharing today, today's main topic is what the mobile loyalty revolution means for small business and why now. Why now is the time to risk being left behind if you're not mobile optimized, online, e-commerce ready. There's so many factors now that all come back to a mobile device and making sure that you're in line with what your customers are doing, and where they are, where are they hanging out, what do they want, have you done a survey? I mean, there's so many things, but tonight I'm so excited because I've got a special guest and he's a very clever gentleman. I'm really privileged to have him on board. He'll be joining us momentarily. And as I mentioned in my email recently to all my loyal listeners, and that he's created this app that I've been talking about, and it'll be interesting to find out a little bit of backstory on exactly how this came about, which I'd really like to share with you. So I would like to just looking at where mobile's at right now, and where loyalty's at in that respect. So I located a few facts from the Australian statistics arena. So the Nielsen's, the AIMIA, as well, and just for some local understanding of exactly where we're at. So as far as device ownership, so mobile device ownership, 89% of Australians own a smartphone. So just, I guess, thinking about that, watching people come into your business, looking at what you do daily, going on wherever you are, you might see people standing around public transport parties, wherever you might be, and you'll notice that most people have a smartphone. Even Nana is transferring from dumb phone to smartphone. That includes my mum. She's doing it okay. She may not have activated her internet just yet, but that is going to happen very soon. And it's going to happen very soon. I'm living in hope for my mother, but for many mature Australians, it's happening daily, and they're so excited. It's opening up their entire world. So 60% of Australians have access to a tablet. The evolution of mobile has seen the screen change in size, because most people don't want to have to navigate around a mobile phone and have the off chance of hitting the wrong button. We found that we really prefer a larger screen. So the first screen was very, very small. It's starting to progress to a more reasonable size. 34% of Australians do not have a landline. So people are foregoing their landline, and there's no need. Once the NBN's in, you won't need it at all. If you have ADSL, you still need a landline. But if you don't and you have fibre, it's fantastic. It's one less bill to pay. It's something less that you have to worry about. 61% of Australians would choose their mobile over their TV. So that's an interesting stat. 30% of Australians either own or plan to own a wearable device before, these stats were taken before the end of last year, so before the end of 2015. Now, a wearable device is obviously, you may have seen the Apple Watch come out, so being able to have access to everything your mobile phone does on a watch, on your wrist, that's called a wearable. And more of those are coming out, different types of devices, as well as they'll also come down in price. So just like everything else new, all new gadgets when they first come out, they're super expensive. They're going to get much more affordable. 73% of Australians have made a purchase on a tablet. 58% of Australians have made a purchase on a smartphone. And 34% of Australians would like to use their phone as a credit card. So just those three stats, I'll read them again. 73% of Australians have made a purchase on a tablet. So generally they're at home, and when they're at home they have the television, their tablet, their computer and their mobile device. So that's 4 devices that most people have close or near them when they're at home. This is why the stats for purchasing on a tablet are so high. 58% of Australians have made a purchase on a smartphone. Again, you see people in the store, you may have done it yourself. You're comparing prices when you're in store, when you're out of store at home, you're checking on things, comparing prices and maybe hitting the buy button. 34% of Australians would like to use their phone as a credit card. One of the most fastest growing areas of mobile is mobile pay. And for many of us Australians already are using a mobile to pay for bills and pay as we go. We're already used to PayWave. So instead of using a card, your bank card to do PayWave, you would use your smartphone. And that's just a matter of time before that increases as well. Daily it's growing. And your mobile wallet is the next one. So instead of when you're leaving home, you'll only need your keys and your mobile phone instead of taking a big bulky wallet, because we've eliminated credit cards. We'll be eliminating credit cards. We'll be eliminating any sort of loyalty card. There really won't be any reason to have a paper receipt. There's no reason to have a wallet. Honestly, it's really just something extra you have to carry around. So there's lots of exciting things happening. As much as it's a little scary, it's this is what's going on. We have to move with the times. If you're in business, you have to understand what's happening with consumers and how their behavior is changing their buying power. And then being able to go, okay, as a business, how can I get in front of that? How can I benefit from that? How can I cash in from that? So this is the big wave that I mentioned in my email as well. This is the revolution. The revolution of mobile is causing incredible, huge increases in revenue for those people who are at the forefront, who are in front of their customers when they're in a scenario to shop, to buy, research, all those sorts of things, to be right there in front of them. And at the moment, there's not a lot of competition. It is growing though. This is why now is the time. Right now is a perfect time to jump on board. And by jumping on board, I mean truly sit down, look at your client base. For some people, many of their clients are not, on Facebook a lot. You might cater to middle-aged men. And stats are middle-aged men aren't always on Facebook like middle-aged women are, and they enjoy other things. They might be happy to receive an SMS that then takes them to a product page that they can just hit buy if it's specific and what they're looking for. So you've got to know those things. Really got to understand your customer to be able to take advantage of that. Now, with Facebook, 9 million Aussies access Facebook every day using their mobile phone. If you're in business and you're not on Facebook, there has to be obviously a really good reason, and a reason to do with your clients, a reason to do with your target market. Your target market definitely wouldn't be on Facebook if you're not engaged in that right now, I'm assuming. So Australians, they're checking their mobiles on average 14 times a day rather. Over 50% of Australians on Facebook watch your videos, so there's an alarm bell as well. 65% of Facebook video views are on a mobile device. So, and over 70% of Facebook users between 25 and 44 years of age use a second screen most or all of the time when watching television. So they're watching TV, they've got their mobile phone or a tablet right near them. Okay. Television viewing is reducing significantly. So it's important to understand that being online is key, because people are now viewing YouTube, they're viewing all their online favourite areas from their television, on their television. Just a couple more things just to make you have a think about where things are at today, 2016. If you're in business, being mobile and ensuring that you have a loyalty program are the two key things. Advertising on a mobile is also something a little foreign to many Australian businesses. Only the big boys play in that space. Well, that's not true. It doesn't have to be. And you don't have to have a big budget either, especially if you get in now before every Tom, Dick and Harry wants to have their ad on a mobile phone. So if you can jump the queue, which is right now, and this is where I'm saying right now is a great time, you can take advantage of usually a bit lower costs from what they probably will be in the future, because there's not the demand for it. Advertising delivers 42% of ad recall on a tablet. Advertising delivers 38% ad recall on a smartphone. So people are more inclined to revisit, go to that particular website of the provider, of the business rather, and certainly research and make a purchase. It's so much quicker than the traditional way. So keeping those stats in mind, I don't expect you to remember them all, but I just wanted to share a few key ones if you're an Australian in business or in business in Australia. And, these stats are going to blow out next year from this year's stats. This year is the year of the one-to-one relationship with each and every one of your customers. And the easiest way to do that, and if you embrace this and look into it and start taking action into mobile and into loyalty, that is where you're going to see massive revenue benefits. So let's see if our special guest is on.
I'm here, Carl.
Oh, hi. Let me introduce you to Shannon Monaghan. Shannon is the CEO of stampme. And Shannon, I mentioned to people watching that I was really excited to have you on, and it's specifically because you've created this amazing app, and it's what I've been talking about for the last few months. So I was wondering if you could share with us how the app came about, a little bit of history there and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the introduction, Kylie. The app came about around 4.5 years ago. I was with a friend. We were in a bar and we were discussing problems of the world, and not exactly a first world problem. One of the frustrations I had was with loyalty cards, stamp cards. I collected them, but I ended up never having the right card at the right place, and that included where we were at that point. I tended to just throw them in a box and never use them. And I thought, well, they're so widely used, there must be a better way of managing these loyalty cards. And at that stage, I just got my first iPhone, and I thought, hey, why wasn't anyone thought about putting these cards on the phone to make it a lot easier for the user or the customer? Because before then, me having all these cards in the box, it wasn't any good for the business because it wasn't working as a retention tool. They didn't know who I was, and they had no way of communicating with me. And all of a sudden, kind of seeing this box of cards, seeing the mobile phone, and I guess I don't think I was early onto the mobile phone iPhone scene, but yeah, we were kind of in the middle of the market, I guess. I think it was about an iPhone 3 that I had. We decided to give this idea a bit more thought, and we started looking around and asking people about how many loyalty cards they had, and often most people had more than at least half a dozen in their women, particularly in their bag. But majority of the population were picking them up for coffee shops, car washes, indoor play centres. They also had their traditional kind of supermarket cards, such as the Everyday Rewards, the Flybys, the Myer One. So it just seemed to us like it was such an obvious thing to do to put the cards on the phone. So we went and had a look around the world, and there were not many people at that time. Probably within a few weeks of us coming up with that idea, there were a couple of other players that we started to see in the market, but very, very early stage. Again, because it was a time when I think the camera started to be put into the mobile phone. At the time, I think adoption rates for smartphones were, maybe it was around 30%. It's now probably around 85, 90% in Australia. So we could see that the trajectory or the trend was right on for mobile adoption. We could see that loyalty was a big business, and we continued to develop that concept. Initially, we started with small businesses. They were kind of just local businesses, and we went around and found out whether they would adopt the technology and whether it would be useful for them. We also interviewed customers. They all said yes. That gave us enough, I guess, validation to then go and build an application. So by 2012, we had our first application out in the market. And it was very simple. It was just a stamp card on a phone. We went in and kind of grew that business locally. Then it became more national, and subsequently it's grown to be operating in more than 25 countries. So, and it's a very simple idea. We were very keen to not overcomplicate the simple stamp card, and every time we do a development, it's all about how can we make something very simple. It's been well proven that the more complicated you make the app and the more bells and whistles and features, the less likely you are to get someone using it. So in our whole process, we've been trying to keep simplicity at the key. Look, so when it comes to the proposition for the customer, the key thing is we've made a utility app for the customer to make it very easy to store their stamp cards. For the business, we've actually helped them kind of build engagement with that customer. So one of the big things about the previous stamp cards or paper cards was that the business actually never knew who those customers were. So there was no record of knowing who their customers are, how often they were coming in, what the redemption rates were. Generally, customers would probably even pick up multiple cards like myself. And so that really wasn't, not knowing who your customer is not great for business. The second thing is, if you don't know who your customer is, you can't communicate with that customer. And all of a sudden, by putting the loyalty application on the phone, it's actually telling you who the customer is and giving you the permission to communicate directly with the customer. And that is a huge benefit for a business. And one of the early stats we saw early on when we were getting into loyalty was Myer One. At that stage, they'd listed as a public company. And they showed some statistics that demonstrated that like close to 80% of their customers or their spend were coming from customers on the Myer One card, which was just huge. I mean, that's underpinning 80% of their business is coming from people on the loyalty card. Then when they made some further analysis, and I can't remember exactly, but when they started communicating with those customers on the Myer One card, the spend was like double, triple that of just the customers that were on the card. So it was a multiple. So it reinforced to us that there is value in a loyalty program if you can actually understand who your customer is, analyze that, and then overlay that with communication with the customer. The types of businesses we have generally focused on, well, initially it was on small businesses that tended to be low value, high transaction type of purchases. We have kind of extended that out now, and we've now got not just small businesses, we've got universities, enterprises, resorts. We've had brands use the app, so we are growing the business globally. Most of our growth is actually coming out of the US, not so surprisingly, just given the size of that market, and the fact that they tend to be a lot more advanced with development of marketing products, just because it is a much bigger market, it's a lot more competitive, and they need that edge, one business over another, because it's the way that market works. So North America has been continues to be a very fast-growing market for us, as we are growing in Australia and New Zealand and the UK. So look, we've tended to have a more focus on the English-speaking countries, but there is now, we're now starting to see growth in some of the other, I guess, Spanish-speaking South America, Spain, some other markets too. The key, the key benefit for our app as a marketing product, particularly for what you call the millennial user. And the millennial is classified as someone that's been born around the middle of 2000, but we're pretty loose with it these days. It could be 10, 15 years either side. But a lot of studies have been done on this millennial customer, and so typically they're in the age probably 20 to 40 years old. They don't read newspapers. They don't generally pick up pamphlets out of their letterbox. They've got no junk mail on it. They watch a lot less TV, and the TV they do watch, they're very specific about what they watch, but they generally don't watch TV. And if they do, they record it and they flick through the ads. They don't listen to as much commercial radio, so they'll be using podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, other mediums. So for marketing and direct marketing to that customer, and that is a big growing part of the population, you need to find alternative ways, and that's where the mobile really does present a good opportunity. That's where the average user of a mobile, millennial to, they're spending hours every day on their mobiles. So if you want to capture them and engage with them, that's where you need to go. And we think that we're very much in the right place with that.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Sharing all that information from Shannon. Invaluable. Anyone watching in business today and has listened to what Shannon said about where the money is going, what's happening with millennials, what's the revolution of the not just the mobile phone but also loyalty, and media in general. Many people are shocked to hear that most people don't read the paper anymore. They don't watch television anymore. All these things are evolving, and it's important for small business to be in front of it. So Shannon, in respect to the revolution of loyalty, what are some of the things that people are really excited about now? What are the new advancements? I know that I've mentioned the beacon a couple of times, but can you take us through that transition from when you first started, I guess, looking at just replacing the card with an app, then to geofencing and things like that, even the QR code. a lot of people say to me, oh, do people really use a QR code anymore? Is it growing? Is it, is it something that we all should be still focused on with millennials?
Yeah, look, thanks, Kylie. Initially, we started with using QR codes as a validation method. So when someone made a qualifying transaction, they would scan the QR code and receive a stamp. And we still use that method in hundreds, probably thousands of businesses. And it is a very valid way of validating the transaction. However, technology's moved on, and we have, over the last few years, we've also started to look at beacon technology. Initially, when we first looked at beacon technology, it wasn't the right solution for us, but like technology, it does develop. And the reason why it wasn't the right solution when we first started was that a lot of mobile phones were not beacon enabled. Time has moved on, and now generally any phone from a 4S onwards with an iPhone, and any phone manufactured on an Android platform over the last 3 or 4 years has had beacon technology installed. So all of a sudden, the hardware has changed. The beacons have actually got a lot better in their battery life, the signaling strength of the beacons, and just the overall quality. So what we've started to see is that what we're starting to implement is now using beacons in stores. And maybe I should take one step back and explain what a beacon is. A beacon is a little Bluetooth device that is continually emitting little data packs. And how we use the beacon is that when a customer walks into a store, if they've got our app installed on the phone, it actually sends a little message saying, welcome to my business. Warm contextual message reminding that customer to use the loyalty program. When the customer makes a qualifying purchase, the beacon allows us to validate the transaction on the customer's phone. So much like a pay wave or a tap and go that you would use with your credit card, this is using your phone instead. So you're waving or holding your phone near the beacon, and it's only within a few centimeters, and that validates the transaction and puts a stamp on the card.
I've got one here. I can show them. I'll just quickly show you. I think I have shown this before, but it's not very big, fairly small.
Yeah, and we can look. They can come in all shapes and sizes, and some power to a PowerPoint. We have outdoor ones. There's a whole variation, but the technology is very much the same. It's a little device that's emitting packets of data. And unlike old Bluetooth, previous generations, like you may have had in your car, where you had to pair your phone with the car, this doesn't require any pairing. It just happens automatically because it's installed on the phone, and the phone knows to look for it. You do need Bluetooth turned on your phone, but generally most people have got it turned on anyway because they are using their cars in their phone. They are using their phones in their car, I should say. They are using their phones for music streaming and lots of things, and they do all require Bluetooth to be switched on. So we do get asked a little bit about, well, does it drain my battery having Bluetooth on? And no, the answer is no to that. We make sure that it's kind of using minimal amount of battery, and that's the benefit of this product. Having Bluetooth on is not going to be consuming a lot of your battery.
Great. Okay. So just for people who are in business, what do you see as the biggest benefit for them in relation to having this type of thing set up and having the beacon available in their establishment and accessed all the time? What is the biggest benefit to them, and why do you think now is a great time to get started, Shannon?
All right. Well, a couple of things. It's kind of what the customers want. So as we mentioned, 85% of the population is is carrying a mobile phone. They are using their mobile phones now a lot more than even a couple of years ago. They've got better battery, better camera, better apps. So people are very intensive users of mobiles. So this is really helping them in that it's giving them the utility benefit of having their loyalty card on a phone. They're able to take advantage of the savings that business is providing, and they're allowed to engage with the business. So that's the real benefit, is actually for the customer, in that they're getting your loyalty program and they're getting tied into your business. From the business's perspective, it's a very effective tool for customer retention. It's keeping that customer coming back. It's not going to save a business. If you've got a bad business, bad location, bad staff, no program is ever going to help you. But this is a really important factor that if you do have a good business, it will help accentuate and improve that business. It will allow you to understand who your customers are, know where they're coming from, and that's really important because you then get an idea of the frequency of your customers. You get to understand who your best customers are, who are the customers that are only coming in occasionally, and allow you to work on that business. Well, what can I do to get those customers that are less frequent to be higher frequency customers, and actually start speaking to those people, engaging with them. Our system gives you those tools to directly communicate with them. So if you want to pop up an in-app notification, if you want to collect the data and send an email, if you want to do an SMS, they're all available for you to have that direct communication. And this is like a big benefit over maybe something that's gone on in the past. Say 5 years ago, small business didn't have that capability. That was something that big brands, big businesses did through alternative media channels. This is giving you direct communication with that customer, and that's very engaging.
And it's not, once that engagement is set and the customer feels that I call it love from the business, that they form such an attachment to that business. I know a lot of people who have reward cards from Woolies and Bowls and what have you. It's become almost like an automatic thing that they take out. But I know a lot of people that do that automatic thing, and they never check how many reward points they have. They never know what they can actually what rewards they're applicable for, and what they'll receive if they don't make that extra effort to go online, search around, whatever they have to do to find out how many points they've got. Sure, there are people that do that, but it's only when I actually go to those stores to get groceries that I would even pull that card out and think about it. This way, businesses can actually connect with their clients when they're not even thinking about the products that they sell, when they're at home or doing other things. And that's okay because they've given permission to do that. So
I think that's an important point too you make, Kylie, is that with our program, the structure of the reward is very transparent to the customer, and unlike a lot of points-based systems that are done largely by large companies like Woolworths and Coles, in this program, the customer knows up front that they come in 5 times, 10 times, whatever the case may be. They know they're getting some kind of tangible reward. It's not some like pointless thing where you need to spend $300,000 for a flight from Melbourne to Sydney. It's the direct reward that they're getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the big thing. This is the massive advantage small business has right now, to be able to make that what seems to be a huge leap is really quite amazingly minor in having it all set up, ready to go, and having your customers transition to it. Because every time I speak to someone who uses a cafe frequently or a boutique frequently, the thought of them having to use a paper card or a plastic card or something like that, it just, the look on their face tells the story. They're just like, oh, it's like the most painful thing for them to have this card. And that is the minimal reaction. So being able to then say to them, look, we're going to make it easy for you. You don't have to use the card anymore. You'll have access to us, in a two-way scenario where we want to be able to serve you better. So is it okay if we send you a message to ask you a question to reply? And if you do that, then we'll reward you instantly. Those sorts of things, and they're the options that you have in communicating with customers. And once you get that data is gold. And this is why now is really important, because you can be way ahead of the curve, because this is still very, very new. It's extremely new. There's still 50% of businesses don't have a website in Australia. But a lot of people use reward cards, but they hate them now. Consumers don't like them. They don't want to have to fill their wallet, because the wallet is transitioning, as I mentioned earlier on. So Shannon, getting back to stampme as well, the other advantage, of course, is the fact that it's more community-based. And it's based on location. So being able for businesses in the local community to be accessed via one app by consumers who live in that community is also a massive advantage. Can you elaborate a little bit on how that's advantageous to the business owner?
Yeah, look, how that's advantageous is on our program, there's a section called Around Me, which enables the user to actually see other businesses that are on the program and join their programs also. So there is a bit of a publicity aspect to it, or promotional aspect, in that if you are on the app, you can potentially access or have other businesses or customers or users of other businesses access your business. So, and I think that's very important to build a more community aspect around the app. There's some really surprising statistics, and I think it's something like 80% of retail trade is now done through the big two supermarket retail chains. So that'd be Wesfarmers and Woolworths, which is leaving a very small part for the majority of small business. And so I think one of the things that they can do is create a more community atmosphere and community around, and kind of work together to build a business. And this is something that this application helps them do.
I'll just take myself off mute. No, that's right, absolutely. And that's what, I mean, this app just has so many advantages for business owners that I barely know where to start, because, immediately you see the advantage of consumers not having to use the woman card anymore, but also the fact that businesses can now receive the data that allows them and gives them permission to connect and engage with their customer wherever they are. Not just when they're in the store, not even just when they're in the vicinity, but when they're at home, wherever they might be. I mean, to entice them and encourage them to revisit or to go online and make a purchase. And as I mentioned in the stats before, that's all just absolutely going gangbusters. It's doubled again, and people are now more inclined to make a purchase on a tablet than they are on a computer. 60% of people make a purchase on a tablet, and now 50% on a smartphone, which is massive. If you think about your business and how your products are being sold today, having that access to people's mobile phone, knowing that they're on it so frequently, imagine your business in front and in the palm of your customer's hand. Thinking about how to get your business in that platform, in that arena, it's not hard, and it can happen really quickly. You just start off small. It's not huge cost, surprisingly low cost, and it's so effective. And if you don't do it, you're leaving money on the table, and that's the big risk I was talking about. And this is why I wanted to talk about this subject today, because there's a huge risk in not going down this track. Absolute huge. What do you say about that, Shannon? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, look, in recent times, if you've looked at the businesses, certainly in Australia and even overseas, some businesses that have been really effective at almost, I'd say, demolishing other industries, and well, I said they're certainly taking a lot of share. If you, one case in point that springs to mind is Domino's, where a few years ago you've had a pizza market, very large, very large takeaway food segment, and through the use of their application, ordering, payments, delivery, they have just decimated the pizza industry, and they've just taken such a huge market share and built themselves an extremely profitable business in the process. So that would be a good case of a business that's kind of seen an opportunity in mobile, and they've come in, they've invested money in building an application, and they have now, the kings of pizza. Look, there's lots of other pizza shops, but their market share, which may have been only a couple of percent, is now, speaking off the cuff, but is now a big market share for what is, previously been a very competitive industry. Similarly, another good case in point is Starbucks, which was started out as a small shop in Seattle in the US. They introduced an application for loyalty and later on payment. They have continued to grow their business worldwide, and I think they're up to now over 22,500 stores. So over probably 10 years or so, but the adoption of mobile has been really a big part of their success. I mean, there are other things also, but if you're looking to kind of where the trends are, how to access your customers' mobile is the way to go.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. And those examples are brilliant because even the simple adoption of SMS. As much as people say to me, "Oh, but isn't that older technology? Aren't things going to apps?" Well, they're going to apps, yes, but SMS is still highly valid, and the most responsive, interruptive way to get attention is through SMS. Now, looking back at Domino's are now doing SMS ordering. Well, I mean, they could have done that years ago, but it just wasn't something that they thought about. It's amazing how it's all of a sudden become really quite on trend and quite sounding very new and fresh when SMSing and texting from an inbound way, so from consumer to business rather than the other way around, is all very new. And look, it is for the most part, but it's always been there. It's been there for a long, long time. You may have actually done voted on Australia's Got Talent or one of those shows on television, if you're one of those people that watches television and likes that show. But you text to vote, you text to join, so you're texting that business inbound. So Domino's have adopted that to place your order. And then they've got the navigation of when the order's going to be ready. You can follow the car all the way around with the location-based technology. So Shannon, thank you for that. That was awesome, and it really just adds another level of insight into where the technology is going, what the use is, how businesses can truly benefit from it, how it's really a no-brainer, and to add to that, it's quick and simple to get started. If you are interested in getting started, you can just simply email me at kylie@mobilemarketinglink.com.au, or you can also call on 0416 743 675 or text that number. That number's on the website. Actually, once you send through your details, if you haven't already, through Mobile Marketing Link, you can request the details as well. So just send through an email is probably the easiest way. or on Facebook. So you can find us there. But thanks so much, Shannon, for your time. And we'll definitely get you back on board to maybe we'll look at some campaigns and look at how people can use the app to generate interest and a buzz of their business, and certainly get some revenue in when things might be slow. And that's one of the bonuses of the app, is that you can use it to generate business in a flash, so instantly. And I've actually used that with SMS to send out a message and entice people to come in within a certain time frame. So would you be open to that, Shannon?
Sure, absolutely. I think that's another important part of the application. So once the business has built up their customer list and the ability to go out and use that list to bring them in during low periods, or just generally inform them about what's going on in the business, that's all building up engagement.
Yep, great, excellent. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'll let you get on with your Sunday evening, and I'll catch up with you again soon.
Right, thank you, Kylie. Right.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now. And thank you all for joining me again this week. We may be changing it to Monday night. Sundays are becoming probably a little bit less popular than Monday nights, but we're just going to give them a bit of a try. So again, if you're interested in finding out more about how stampme can help you and attract business and eliminate stamp cards and create a loyalty system where you're going to really be able to engage your clients, get, just lift your business to the next level and be able to increase your revenue and be on point and with advancements and things in technology that, your customers are wanting you to be. They're wanting you to be right there on their smartphone. Then don't hesitate to leave a comment below. You can leave your details as well. If you email me, Kylie at mobilemarketinglink.com.au. Any questions as well, more than happy to answer them. And certainly connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You just look up Kylie Smiley and mobile marketing, you'll find me. On that sweet note, have a great the rest of your day, whatever you might be doing, wherever you might be in the world, and please make sure you have a profitable week. I wish you well in your business, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.